All right. Good evening. Our programming chair, Shannon Boyle, will begin this webinar shortly. If you have any questions for our special guests, please type them in the chat. We are recording the Swing Series session, and it will be available on our YouTube channel later this week. I now turn it over to Shannon.
Thank you, Sarah. And thank you all so much for joining our Swing Series this evening. I have the great pleasure of introducing our guest of honor tonight, Carly Peters, who is joined up in Westchester by our own Lorianne Cerullo, WMGA president, who will serve as videographer, IT person, willing lesson subject. She'll wear many hats, but just to give you all a little bit of background on Carly. Carly is in her second season at Quaker Ridge Golf Club in Scarsdale, New York. She's a PGA Class A professional and also LPGA certified. Carly recently became certified in TPI, which stands for Titleist Performance Institute, and that's a course in biomechanics on the golf swing. She won her last amateur golf event, the Women's Long Island Amateur Championship, before turning professional in 2018. Carly's from Smithtown, Long Island, New York, and attended SUNY Cortland while earning her bachelor's degree in speech language pathology and psychology. She was a competitive member of the women's golf team at Cortland from 2012 to 2016, winning an impressive 3 collegiate tournaments. She then went on to pursue her master's in business administration and graduated from Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida. Carly enjoys playing competitive golf in the metropolitan section and spends her winters in Jupiter, Florida with her fiance, Dylan Newman, who's also a PGA professional. Carly, thank you so much for joining us today. And I will turn things over to you to kick off our lesson.
Sounds good. Welcome everyone, and thanks so much for attending this webinar, the Swing Series. Today we're going to really focus on putting, and we're going to work from really the beginner golfer, maybe someone who's never picked up a club, all the way to an advanced golfer. So I'm going to kind of filter in a couple of tips and tricks, and we'll talk about some basics, but then we'll also kind of tailor it to those who maybe are a little bit more advanced. You know, I grew up in the Met section, playing many events, as some of you may be doing, and going on new courses. You need to have kind of a process or a rhythm when you get to the course. So how are you going to figure out the speed? How are you going to figure out the green? Really even knowing where some of the things are, how are you going to, make your warm up really effective? So first we're going to talk about basics with putting. And Lorianne, I'm going to have you tilt it down a little bit. So the first thing I want to talk about in the putting stroke is our stance. So we'll kind of work from the ground up. So our stance is going to be a little bit inside shoulder width apart. And that's going to help us really keep our lower body still. And we don't want to move our lower body because then we get a putt that can be inconsistent or a little, wavy, a little sideways. So first we're going to keep our feet planted on the ground. We're going to really stabilize our lower body. And the only thing that should be moving is our shoulders. So as you can see, lower body still, and my shoulders are rocking back and forth. Now we're going to add the putter. So if you can clap your hands together, wherever they kind of meet is where you should hold the putter. Some people bow their arms out to feel like they have more control, more rocking. That's okay, but this is going to be a little bit more, like consistent, we could say. So my hands meet right about down here, right at the end of the grip. So I'm going to grip it right about there. And then from here, I'm just going to rock my shoulders, stabilize my lower body. So back and through. And simplest terms, that's the putting stroke. So from right about there, I also want you to see my hip bend. I'm not, like this. And Michelle, she has a very interesting posture, but, to keep everything consistent and smooth, we're going to have a little zigzag, a little bend. And again, from this angle, back and through, you can see my lower body is still. Now, mentioned before, I am certified in TPI, so Titleist Performance Institute. And everyone at home, if you want to stand up, this is a really quirky thing, and it really helps with putting. So it's kind of a diagnostic tool or a diagnostic test that I use as an instructor, and we can figure out if you are a type of person that has a really easy time stabilizing your lower body or a difficult time. So the first thing is you'll stand up, get into a golf posture, and now we're just going to mobilize our upper body and keep our lower body still, just like that. So see how my hips are not moving. Okay, now this is the tricky part. Now you want to stabilize your upper body and just rotationally move your lower body. It's harder than it looks. I will challenge everyone to try that. It separates your upper and lower body, which we do in the putting stroke. So that's kind of like a little bit of a warm up. You're really going to feel your obliques engaged, and you're also going to feel your hips pretty engaged as well. So just kind of a fun little warm up to do maybe at home before you get to the golf course. It looks a little silly, but just something to try. So I also want to talk about, grip. Okay. So grip is something that is totally player preference. I am the last person as a PGA professional to try to change your grip unless it's really hindering your stroke or your swing. So, my grip, I just want to keep both of my thumbs down the shaft. And in the back, I'm just, holding it with a 10-finger grip, nothing really crazy there. Some putter, some people prefer left hand low, which is like a cross-handed putt that sometimes stabilizes a little bit. That's okay. I see the bear claw. Sometimes that putt really puts the weight in the head of the putter. So that's another kind of fun little quirky one you can try. This is the most traditional one right here, just back and through. So you can experiment with the grip as you please, but for right now, I would say pretty basic would just be 10 fingers on, thumbs down the shaft. Now I want to talk a little bit about equipment. So I don't know if you guys can see at home, but this is flat. The front of the putter is flat, where the rest is going to be rounded. And maybe you can see it better if I go like that. So this part is flat, and then we have a rounded back. this is the only club that is not fully round. This is because our thumbs have to be down the shaft, and that just stabilizes the club. I know Lori Ann right here has a super stroke putter, which maybe some people have seen this type of grip. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, and what it does is it takes out the wrists in the putting stroke, and it really allows you to, take your hands out, have loose tension, loose grip, and work on using your shoulders a little bit more, as we talked about before. Here's something to kind of watch out for. If you're interested in getting this type of grip, they come in different sizes, right? So Lorianne has a 1, and I believe this one here is a 2. So this is a little bit like more thin. This is a little bit thicker. Some people prefer different things, also based on the size of your hand. So Lorianne, if you want to put your hand up. And
I got a little hand.
She has tiny hands, so she has the tiny super stroke. If you go to a local PGA professional, they can help you with what size would be appropriate and also the length of your putter.
And is this also good for people who have arthritis and it's hard to grip as well?
Yep.
Okay.
I worked down at a club in Florida, and the demographic of members there, some people need these big arthritic grips, and this is definitely one that bigger hands or thicker hands or someone with arthritis really can benefit from a super stroke putter grip. So yes, your local PGA professional, they know a lot about these and they're awesome. So definitely take a look into that. If you're someone who likes maybe more of a traditional grip, then that's okay as well. Since we're on the topic of equipment, let's now talk about what's really important down here at the club head. So I brought a couple different putters here, as you guys can see. This is called a 2-ball putter. This is called a blade putter. And then this is kind of like a half moon putter. So we have a little bit of a back. Again, totally player preference, but a lot of people do not know what they have in their bag. So we will put to the test. We'll see if Lorianne knows what type of putter she has. Does she have a face balanced putter or a toe balanced putter?
Ooh,
and this is her putter right here.
That's my putter. I'm going to say it's a face balance.
Okay, so let's put it to the test.
All right.
So the way to tell, if you take your putter and hold it just like this, no manipulation with your hands, just hold it right on your fingers, and you can take a look and you can see you do have a face balanced putter. The face, this is the face of the club right here. Is the face pointing up to the sky, or is the toe pointing down to the ground? So right here, the face is pointing up to the sky. Okay. I will go over what this means in a little bit, but she was correct. Let's check out another one. Okay. That's a toe balance putter, right? So now we see the toe pointing down. So there's a lot of weight right here in the toe, which creates, that to happen. Now let's go over why they make different putters, why they're important, and I challenge everyone, check what you have in your bag because no one really knows. So I have a toe balance putter, and my putting stroke is more on an arc. So what that means is I can get away with a little bit of open, square, and closed club face. And I'm exaggerating it a little bit right here. I have a lot of weight in the toe, which helps me kind of turn that putter, not turn it quite over, but keep it straight, but have a little bit of, arc right there. I like to think about a figure skater who kind of turns in, right? So they have a lot of weight out here, and then they're wrapping it in close. So that's what this putter represents. Okay, now this putter, the face balance putter, this is a golfer who's going to want a stroke that goes straight back and straight through. Not a lot of manipulation. And this is someone who I would say has a pretty confident stroke. Someone who really, and I can see this is good. You kind of have
where there,
a little wear spot in the center of the club face. So that's awesome. I also want to point out that the way the shaft, which is this piece, how it comes into the putter, this is offset, which offset means, see, if I were to extend the shaft all the way down, it doesn't quite match up with the club head. So this is a really good thing. A lot of putters have this. If they don't have this, they'll have something that looks maybe more like this, a little bit of a bend. So it's a little bit offset, not quite. And then also certain shafts can come either out of the heel, they can come out of the center, or they can, I haven't really seen one out of the toe, but these two right here are popular. So player preference, whatever you prefer. I'd stick with, again, your local PGA professional can fit you into the putter you need by taking a look at your stroke, taking a look at what you prefer, and also taking a look at your grip. So next up, let's talk about a couple drills. What do we do when we get to a brand new golf course and we don't know the speed at all? A couple different things you can do. The first thing I like to do is I like to not putt toward a hole. I like to putt toward the fringe. So the fringe is where the green and the collar meet. So you take out the element of really direction and we're just focusing on speed. So this is important because you can gauge a small, medium, and long putt. And I like to do that maybe 3 or 4 times. So what I'll do is I'll hit a short putt, a short putt, a short putt, and I'll try to make clusters of golf balls. So I'll do short, then I'll go middle, then I'll go long. So you start to develop a sense of fast, slow, and that can be different for everyone based on if you play a club that at Quaker Ridge I feel like the greens are really quick. So then I go to another club, I go to another course and then maybe a little slower. So that's really what I base my scale on. So short, middle, long. Then what I would suggest, and Lorianne, I'll have you kind of point down here.
Yep.
This is a drill, and maybe you could tilt it a little bit more, like tilt it like that.
Oh, okay.
And just, to show the 4 cones. So this is what I call north, south, east, and west. That one and that one. Okay. So we have 4 cones around the hole. And on a green, this is kind of fake, this is not real grass, but on a real green, what you can see is a downhill putt, an uphill putt, a putt that breaks right to left, and a putt that breaks left to right. So you get all 4 cases that you're going to probably have on the golf course. I mean, maybe you will get one more than another, but if you can make all of these putts, you'll feel a lot more confident when you go out on the golf course and say, wow, I've already made a side hill putt, I've already made an uphill putt, I made a downhill putt, and I made the other side hill putt. So this can just kind of control some nerves. We could say I used to do this before I played in college. I get to a course every single weekend, brand new state, sometimes brand new terrain, brand new grass. And I like to do this because you get a sense of where you are, you get a sense of the speed, and you also now are adding direction. So start with speed, go speed and direction, and then you're building confidence. Another thing that a lot of players really need help with, in my opinion, would be tempo. Tempo and pace. Are we someone who jabs the putt? Are we someone who's smooth, maybe having a metronome? And I'll go over that in a little bit as well. This is a drill that I really suggest for everyone, no matter your skill level, beginner, advanced putter, anyone. So it has to do with the ball mark. And I have one on my hat. So I always keep it handy here when I'm playing golf or when I'm teaching because I use this a ton. And it's magnetic up here, but it's not magnetic to the putter. So it's not a magic trick. What you're going to do is, and most putters, have a little line in the middle or something indicating the middle of the putt. So you can use it on this. You can even do it, on a putter like this too. So it works for everything. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the coin right there. And the goal would be to keep the coin on the whole time. So I use this as a diagnostic tool as well. If I see someone, they putt back and it falls off, they're accelerating too far back, they're using their wrists. If I see someone go back with it on and go forward, that's more of a jabby putt. That's someone who really doesn't have a lot of speed control or distance control. So I'm actually going to do a couple here. I'll have Lauren tilt the computer down. Hopefully everyone can see. Okay, so this would be, see, I'm more of a jabby putter. Okay. And through. So this is really helping me kind of gauge my tempo and my rhythm. And I'm using my shoulders. My lower body is totally still. That little out of rhythm. And for all the women that don't go to Florida, you can do this all over the winter. You can do this inside. You can do this when you get to a club and warm up. Grab a quarter, grab a ball mark, whatever, you know, whatever's in your bag you can really use. And it really slows down the putting stroke. Personally, I know that sometimes I get up there and I'm like, I just want to get the putt over with. I just want to hit it. And I get up there and I'm like, okay, I can make this, you know, stay positive. You can make it with really good tempo and rhythm. That's super, super important rather than, you know, wishing it and praying it to go in. Just trust it, trust the stroke, trust the tempo. Now I'll kind of ease into why the metronome is key. So I have a metronome right here, and the metronome also will help with rhythm, and not necessarily rhythm just for the stroke. We can even talk about rhythm for the pre-shot routine. Okay, so maybe I'll have.
It's an app.
Oh yeah, and there's an app on my phone. So you can get this app, it's free, just type in metronome. You can, again, practice indoors with this, even on a hot day. If it's, you know, if it's really hot and you don't want to go outside, you do this inside. All right. So first, what I'll do is I get the rhythm. Okay, so then, and I'll have you go on my head for this one. So what I do is maybe I'll do it on this side so you can see it. Actually, stay over here. So I look at the target, back, look, back. So I'm very in key with the tempo and the rhythm. Then I'll get up and I'll take a couple practice swings. Back, through. Again, pretending the coin is on my putter. Really easy, really smooth. Then I'll get up. I'll go look, back, back, through.
Oh, she gets it in.
So this is really also, I know I talked a lot about pre-shot routine and maybe calming nerves. When you have a putt that you really want to make, you know, sometimes we go too quick, sometimes we take too much time, and that, if we don't have that, what do we have to ground us? So keeping the rhythm, keeping the timing, I would say really, really is important. And I've, like, you know, saying before, I've won 3 college golf tournaments, and I remember on my last putt, I was like, okay, I was saying, hang on, Carly, hang on, just 2 putt and get out of here. But that's not the right attitude. The right attitude would be, you're a confident putter, you're a great putter, you have your pre-shot routine, you know, take a deep breath, get over the nerves, and, you know, give it your best effort. So having that metronome in my head kept me in rhythm, and I was focusing so much on the metronome where I don't focus on maybe my nerves or my grip tension or, you know, what my body's doing, more so what my mind is doing. That's a really, really great tip. I suggest everyone try that out as well. It's harder than you think to go slow and to go, you know, to be calm on the golf course, like just getting up even for the little putts. We get sloppy, right? Everyone's missed a 2-foot putt, I'm sure. So to keep even foot, back, through, you know, look, keeping everything in rhythm is so key. So from there, I want to now go into, actually, let's see if we have any questions. Any questions, Sarah? Nothing yet? No, okay. Let's go into green reading. This, again, I know we talked a lot about speed, but green reading, I think, intimidates a lot of women, a lot of people. And it's simple. I'm going to give everyone the easiest thing to read the green. And we can actually use this tennis ball here. So let's say, and you can also test this out when you're outside, but let's say I have a hole right in front of me and I can see, I look at the whole green. I don't just look at tunnel vision. I don't just look at myself to the hole. I really kind of survey the whole green. So what I do from there is, and I do this in competitive tournaments, I do this everywhere since I've been a junior golfer. I visualize myself tossing a ball or rolling a ball. How am I going to roll it to the hole? Am I going to roll it fast? Am I going to roll it soft? That means uphill or downhill. Then I ask myself, am I going to roll it to the right side of the hole, or am I going to roll it to the left side of the hole? And you can even think, this is very natural, right? Rolling something to the hole is a lot easier than maybe putting. So my arm is facilitating the toss. My putter facilitates the putt. So simple terms, that's an easy way to read the green. What I would suggest too is not just looking right behind the putt, kind of walking around, surveying, the whole green. So I find that, let's say this was the hole right down below, and let's say I'll roll it, and that one, I played more break than I thought. So I get that visual first, and then from here, actually, I'm going to put a ball down here so people can see. Okay, let's say this is my putt from the ball to the hole. I look from back here, and then the next place I go is, let's say this is the low side. I go to the low side, and I look from here out. I look from this side on. So I get actually, more information looking sideways than I did head on. Now I get a sense of distance. I get a sense of more slope. And I also get a sense of, I can feel it as I'm walking. Feel it in your feet. You can feel, am I walking downhill? Am I walking uphill? Am I walking, away from the hole? So all these things like proprioception it's kind of innate within us. So that also gives us a cue. Sometimes people look from behind the hole. We look this way. And to me, this kind of gives me a sense of the same thing I'm seeing over there, maybe just confirming it. So that's why sometimes people come there, back, and then I would always walk on the low side. Because if you walk on the high side, that skews your vision. Always walk on the low side if you're gonna go with that philosophy. From there, I try to keep green reading pretty simple. People can really get in depth with what they see, with ridges, things such as that. But at the practice green, at a new club, that's your chance. Don't just get up there and putt. Line it up, read your putt just as you would on the golf course, and then you'll get a sense of how much break to play. Not quite sure if a lot of women, or if you guys know about this golf ball. Has anyone maybe seen this before? This is called the Callaway ERC Soft. I don't know if it's clear or not, but and it comes with, I didn't draw these on before, this has a red line and 2 blue lines. And they make a putter that actually has, a red line and 2 blue lines to match up with the golf ball. And when I say line up the golf ball, what I mean is that little white line lines up with the red line. And then right there, since you figured out you can line this up on your, where you think it's going to break, from there, all you need to do is worry about your speed. Your distance is taken care of, or your direction is taken care of. So I use these golf balls. I love them. I also use the Pro V1 Titleist, but I do practice with this because I think that this gives me a sense of, is it rolling? You can see as it's rolling, you can see the lines. Is it following what I saw? Is it deviating? So yeah, I would suggest everyone grab even just one sleeve of these, throw them in your bag, warm up with them, get a sense of direction. And then once you have that, speed is all you need to worry about. So that's good.
We did have one question on the metronome.
Oh.
What was that speed?
Oh, it was 60.
So one a second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1 second.
Other questions
Yeah.
have come in. Any tips for keeping your head still?
Okay. So there's a big, not controversy, but there's like, everyone says, keep your head still, keep your head down, keep your head still. I hear it all the time. And especially I hear husbands tell their wives, keep your head still, keep your head down. So the whole philosophy with keeping your head down is this. That's a great question. So think about the planet Earth, right? Where Earth is on an axis and we spin around the axis. The golf swing, my axis is my spine. I'm going to swing around my spine. When we lift our head, what happens is we swing and we lift our spine. So everything comes up. And, if I were to lift my head, this is what it would look like. I'd swing, lift my head, right? So that's like, it's not quite what's there, but on a putting stroke, I could see lifting your head would be maybe looking too soon, anticipating the shot. So for that, my college coach actually made me do this, and it really helps. So everyone can try this as well, but try to look at the golf ball the whole time and then kind of close your eyes and listen for the putt to go in. Try not to see it go in. It's a really cool feeling too. If you trust your putting stroke, close your eyes, listen, and you'll be able to tell yourself, I missed it left, I missed it right, too far, too soft. Your body gets a sense of it. So if you putt with your eyes closed, just kind of as a drill, I wouldn't do it in, the real thing, but you know, you really are in tune with your body and mind connection. And it's really powerful because right away I could hit a putt and I would say, you know what, I missed that short and I missed it left. You get the sense right away. And, you know, like I said, lifting your head is just prematurely looking at the shot. Kind of different with putting opposed to full swing, but amazing question. Any other? Yeah.
Yes. Any tips for how far outside the hole you should aim?
Okay. So that one, I would say there's some trust involved. Based on course to course, it can be a lot different. I know here at Quaker Ridge, I would say maybe we have 3 greens that really undulate, and, you know, more than not, they're more subtle. But if I have a big slope like this, sometimes my back is toward the hole. I've had putts where my back is toward the hole and I'm putting a huge arc. So I would say based on course to course, there's no exact recipe for that, unfortunately. Visualization is huge with that. You can see maybe a faster putt going straight in, or you can see a slower putt kind of looping out and taking more break. What I like to visualize is really both. I visualize the fastest one, the slowest one, and then in that whole area, if you shade it in, most of those putts are going to drop. It's all based on speed and what you see. I know before this started, we were talking a little bit about what caddies see, what you see, how your speed can deviate from a line. So, you know, I would also suggest watch a ton of golf. They have these really cool metrics and lines that they draw, and they shade it in. You can see, oh, you know, he hit it the hardest he could and it went in, or he hit it really soft and that went in. And then they show kind of in between, everything there will fall into the hole. Another great question.
Great. At a new course, do you practice from 20 to 30 feet first, then move closer to the hole for the shorter putts?
Yes, I definitely do that. I would suggest, well, I guess I would say yes, definitely. If you're someone who struggles with short putts, I would go short putts first, then long, then back to short. So that's all player preference. But yes, I would say first, when I arrive at a course, I start with lag putts, and then I kind of work my way shorter to the hole. I think I do that for more confidence than anything. I want to hear the ball dropping into the hole more right before I tee off, opposed to long putts. And that's why for the long putts, I don't necessarily putt toward the hole. I putt toward the fringe, because that gives me more confidence. Oh, I'm hitting it right to the fringe. I'm not super worried about direction. As I get shorter, I'm more focused on direction. And a lag putt, I'm just like, get this close. I don't need it to go in. If it goes in, great. But I'm more worried about that than anything. And, you know, I just played recently at the Women's Met Open at Epalamis, and I saw Sarah and Lori there. And I don't know if you guys saw me do any putting, but Lori saw me hit a really great shot on number 3, was it? And, you know, I hit it really close, and I said, you know what, like, getting confident, like, you can make this. You just made 10 on the practice green. Why can't you make one here? So I think going long to short is a good strategy.
Great. That's our final question for now.
Okay. Let's talk about, I want to talk about what to do when you arrive at a new golf course, not necessarily with putting, but what can you do to warm up? So this was kind of a drill I gave everyone: lower body, upper body separation, which really hits home with putting. But, you know, if you're going to go hit balls at the driving range, what's your purpose? If you're going on the putting green, what's your purpose? And not just with golf, but with kinesthetics and what your body needs to do to wake up. And I know we talked a lot about with stabilizing your lower body with putting, but, you know, we do need to activate our lower body in the rest of the game. So I'll tie a little TPI exercise into this as well. And I want to really focus on balance, because I'll tell a little story first, then I'll get into it. But I am 26 years old, and I am down in Florida now. It's my 3rd season, and I went to this golf performance center. And they first run this whole test of diagnostic, you know, tests for your body, for flexibility, for balance, strength, everything for, you know, that ties into golf. And what came out for me, great flexibility, great strength, but very poor balance. And I said, I'm 26 years old. My balance should be fine. Why is my balance affecting me right now? And they were saying that it's something you can improve, you can get better on it. And, you know, I always felt that in my golf swing, I had really strong balance and a really good core. So what they did, they ran me through all these crazy little drills. I had to jump over a hurdle, catch a tennis ball on this foam little mat. I mean, it was crazy what I had to do. But here's a little drill that I think it really hits home for balance, and it's difficult. So if you want to stand up, feel free to do it. If not, you can watch this and do it at the golf course. But you'll put your knee at 90 degrees like this. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna tilt back, and then we're gonna go, you're gonna just keep your core, and you're gonna turn your arms like this. Now this is opening up, see, I fell off balance. This is opening up my upper body. It's also helping me stabilize my lower body because I'm moving, think about putting, you're moving your upper body, stabilizing your lower body with balance. So this is, again, tying into putting. So we're here, back, and one side may be better than another. So kind of test that out. So there, and I can feel my front foot fighting to stay in balance, right? And now if I were to do it with the other foot, this one I don't think is as good. It's hard, but you can feel your shoulders opening up, which, just like we said with putting, very important there. Stabilizing that lower body, again, very important. When I teach kids, I say, we're gonna glue your feet down to the floor, you're stuck in quicksand, you're stuck in cement, whatever you can do to keep this still. And a lot of women don't realize that they're moving their lower body. We get a little sway, and the second we do that, we lose power. And it's silly to talk about power in putting, but there is a lot of power in stability. Who, or maybe it's really not really a question, but what two clubs do we hit up on the golf ball?
Driver.
Yep, driver's one, because we have a tee. And what's the other one?
Sand.
Everyone says that. So sand, think about, we hit down, we
It's
splash the
down,
sand
yeah.
out. It's actually your putter.
It is the putter. Okay.
So what happens is, my hand represents the ground, but we swing back and we go through. And think about when you're putting, you don't want to hit the ground, right? We don't want to take a divot. We don't want to hit down. And we all know that experience of when you do hit down, you stub it, right? So this is, again, one that a lot of people ask, oh, do I hover over it? How do I avoid hitting the ground? So I always believe starting on the ground, again, stability, right? I talk about stability and mobility a lot, but stability here, and we go back, we go through and up. So as we're starting the upswing, we're not really hitting the ground. It's like you're kind of grazing over the ground, and this can become a lot more consistent if you keep your shoulder angle. Like you can see my left shoulder higher than my right shoulder, right? Can everyone see that? If I had them even or opposite, that's going to be a stub. That's going to be down. So that's another way to prevent the stub, keeping this angle, you know, just like that. And think about on a drive, right? If I'm hitting a drive, that's even more severe. If I'm hitting iron, maybe a little less, but now I'm hitting a putt. So it's going to stay right about there. And you can see this is a golfer right now. I look like a golfer that's hitting the ball up. Right? Can everyone see that? Opposed to down. And see, when I did that, what was the first thing to go? My hips. So keeping your hips really stable, super, super important. Any other questions?
Well, I have a question on that one. I see a lot of people where you have it where the whole bottom is on the ground. I see some people that tilt it off.
Yes.
Is that a disadvantage because of what's the
Big
percentage
time.
of? Okay.
That's a great question. Okay. And as an instructor, I see this all the time. This is really the first, when someone takes a putting lesson, the first thing I normally correct. So the question was, you know, is that better? Is that better? Is this better? Hopefully my hand's nice and flat, but I see more of this. I see the toe, which is this part of the club, up a lot. And think about, you know, this whole part is the only part that I'm actually going to be using the putt. If I have the toe up, I can't even get the putter on the golf ball. I'm just going to hit everyone thin and like not a lot of spin or control. Whereas if I go like this, now I'm giving myself just the toe to use that. So I would say, yes, it's definitely a disadvantage. First, really what I do is I set the putter down flat, and you'll feel it. I mean, you can definitely feel there's a lot of deviation there. So set the putter down, then set my feet, and then grab the club. If I do it in any other order, if I set my body first, then grab the club, then go down, now my toe's up. So I also like to think about the putter face as a trampoline. Okay, so think about if you're bouncing in the center of the trampoline, you're going to get the best bounce, the best direction that you want to go, the most power. Now think about if you're bouncing on the edge of a trampoline, you're going to bounce, maybe not with the most power that you want, maybe not quite in the right direction. So we've all hit a putt off the toe, we've all hit a putt off the heel. And even if you haven't, I challenge you to do it, because then you're going to get a sense of, wow, this is what the toe feels like. This is what the heel feels like. Let me feel the center. And, you know, as a PGA professional, my ear is trained. I could close my eyes and hear right away, toe, heel, or center. You can hear the center. It's amazing. And, you know, like I said before, if you close your eyes, you get a sense of mind and body, and you take out your sight. So again, challenge everyone to try that too. It's a really cool experience and a cool feeling. So yeah, keeping everything flat. We could say there's a couple different philosophies also with ball positioning. Is the positioning going to be in the center? Is it going to be a little more forward? They're both correct. What just would not be correct would be back here. This is going to be, again, someone who hits down. This is going to be someone who hits up. And then this is also going to be someone who hits up. So ball position is big. And especially with a stance, you know, within my shoulder, a little bit inside shoulder width, it's not going to be huge. So that's, again, balance, control, everything right about there. I see maybe another question.
Yes, should I take my glove off when I am putting?
Ah, amazing question. Okay, so again, a little player preference. I've taught a lot of putting clinics recently, and someone would say they keep it on for sun protection. Totally fine with that, you know, whatever works. But I would say to get the best result, your hands are your only connection to your club. And especially with putting, it's very feel-based. There's not a lot of numbers. It's challenging for a lot of people because we want that recipe, we want that scientific equation of how am I gonna, you know, get, if I take it back this far, how far does the ball go, like things like that. And there really is none. I mean, you change course to course, you change your speed, you change everything, but to really feel the grip and to feel the putter, I would take it off. I don't keep it on when I putt. That's why they make little back pockets because you stick your glove in your pocket. But yeah, I mean, if it's for sun protection, that's okay. If it's for laziness, maybe not okay. But yeah, I mean, I've played a bunch of golf with a bunch of people, and I see some people keep it on, some people take it off. Really, whatever floats your boat kind of on that one.
All right, and do you believe in the forward press?
Okay, so I actually do a little bit of a forward press when I putt. I wouldn't have a massive forward press because then again, that's going to be hitting down, but a forward press really just kind of allows you to hit up on the putt. It's kind of like a little, I don't want to say a band-aid because a lot of people do it, but you know, that's why we have this putter offset. It really, it's, again, without this on a putter, it's really, I would say, very challenging to putt, but you know, keeping this here, adding a little forward press is totally okay. So yes, I am a believer in a little forward press, just nothing that's extreme. Human nature, once we kind of get on something and we like it, we tend to overdo it. I found that with my teaching a lot. People are like, oh, I love my driver in the front of my stance. Let me do it. And the next lesson they come, it's like way outside of their stance. So just be careful with exaggeration. Everything in moderation, I say, is good. Any others?
One more. Do you believe in opening the left foot?
Oh, like a flare, flaring your left foot. For stability reasons, yes. To me, I personally like a square stance, which I'll go this way. Square is going to be pretty much straight on toe to toe. A little flare would be opening it. If you're someone with mobility issues, or if you're someone who you feel that stabilizes you a little bit more, go for it. Definitely on the driver. I love that on the driver, maybe not so much on the putting green, but you know, what it does here is it gives me an open stance and open look at my target, opposed to being maybe more closed off. Yeah, I mean, that's again, this is all really player preference stuff, whatever is comfortable. That could be way more comfortable. It's also visually, you know, we're not just talking about really body, we're talking about perception. And I always say feel versus real. What feels good and what's really happening may not match. So just, you know, again, alignment, I'd be a little skeptical about it, but I can see that I'm open to my target. So if I, as a righty golfer, if I have a putt that breaks left to right, I'm probably not going to flare it as much as I would if I were going right to left.
Should your hands be loose on the putter?
Yes, great question. One of my favorites. So think about this. Think about a tube of toothpaste, okay? You're over a brand new carpet. How tight are you going to hold that toothpaste? Pretty loose, right? How tight do we hold our putter? Probably pretty tight. So that's how I think about a tube of toothpaste over a brand new carpet is your tension for your grip. I also believe in uneven tension. I believe in left hand a little tighter, right hand really loose. The right hand, if you're a righty golfer and play golf, you know, if you're right-handed in life, right-handed in golf, the right hand can get us into some trouble. So left should be guiding. This should be kind of like spaghetti, really loose, just going along for the ride. So yeah, that's an amazing question. Sometimes I tug on my students' putter and I'm like, all right, let it go. It's really tight. And again, talking about emotions, there's a putt you really want to make, you're grabbing on for dear life, maybe think about just loosening that grip or loosening your right hand. That's what I would suggest with the right hand.
Thank you. That's all we have for now.
Awesome. All right, so let me think. We can do, did the coin. Oh, we didn't talk about this. A blade putter versus a 2-ball putter or a mallet putter. A lot of people come and they're like, what putter should I have? Should I have a big putter, small putter? I know Lorian and I talked about this before, that we both have blade, or she has like kind of a half moon blade putter. To me, this is very distracting. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I love the weight. This helps me go straight back and straight through. Again, a lot of player preference. Also, I want to talk about the face. So we can see here that we have 2 different faces of these putters, right? So we have one with an insert, which is these grooves and these lines, and then the insert is this whole piece in here. Whereas this one, this putter has no insert. This is one piece of metal. So the insert, again, going back to the trampoline reference, you may feel a little more spring, where this one may feel maybe more dead or more dull. Again, player preference. If you close your eyes, you want to listen to the sound of the putter. This is going to sound very different than that one. Let's see what Lorianne has. She has an insert. And if everyone can see, she has a little wear spot right in the center of the face. So this is an indicator that she's probably a pretty good putter. And we were talking also about deviating from that. So if anything, I see that she may be a little more on the toe, which is interesting. And she knows that. See, so it's all, you kind of get a sense of your miss. You get a sense of where you're comfortable on that trampoline. And then let's see this one. Okay, this is, again, a little bit different. We don't have those lines. We don't have those grooves, but we do have a little bit of an insert. So that's going to change. And this one, see the lines? So the lines also, some people don't like the lines. Some people love the lines. Again, player preference, totally up to you. People sometimes get custom made putters, like, oh, I want one line and I don't want this and I want the, putting is very, very detail oriented and it's very per person basis. So yeah, get a putter that's comfortable for you. Try to really get comfortable with what you see. I'm sure a lot of people have a million putters in their garage and they get a new putter every week and they're like, I just don't know what I want. But there are ways to determine, are you arc? Are you straight back? What kind of weight do you want on the putter? Do you want a heavy putter? Do you want a light putter? These are all things that you really have to ask yourself. And, are you someone who travels and plays golf? Bermuda grass in Florida versus bent or Poana grass up here? Like, these are all questions that as a PGA professional, I ask my student, and sometimes they don't know the answer. So it's kind of a challenge. Putting is very, like I said, detail oriented.
Does the length of the putter matter or just player preference?
I definitely think length matters of a putter. This putter here, everyone can see, is definitely too tall, too long for me. I grip it lower. So my putter, I think, is 32 inches or 31 inches, and I'm 5'2". I'm not very tall, but yeah, length does matter. If you're someone who kind of bows your arms out, then you're going to want a longer putter. If you're someone who, like me, is down here, I'm going to want a shorter putter than this. You cannot anchor your putter. Here's a little rules tip. You cannot anchor your putter to your body anymore. So I believe it was Adam Scott. He has, a huge long putter and now he can't anchor it to his body. So he did have to change his putting stroke to play in, USGA governed events, which would be all PGA Tour events. But, you can't anchor it to your body. So I always think, if people buy these really long putters and they have them cut down, I would probably stick to, depending on how tall you are, would really be dependent on the length of your putter, but also a little bit on your stroke. If you're someone, like I said, bows your arms, you could go a little longer. If you're someone who kind of is more like me, a little lower, like Michelle Wee, right? We were talking about Michelle Wee. She's very hunched over. So her putter is probably pretty short. She's pretty tall too. So it's, there's sometimes a change there.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you talk about strategies, so when we were talking before about, are you back of the cup or
Yes.
die to the hole? Is there something like an uphill? I usually go firmer and straighter. Downhill, I'll have more of an arc to
Yeah.
it. What to do in the rain? Is there any strategies
Oh,
there that you
yeah,
might think
definitely.
of, especially even without the rain, but like the humidity that we have these past couple
Yeah.
days, it's
Oh,
still
yeah.
wet on the green.
Right.
Any thoughts
Yeah.
there?
Water makes the ground, it makes the putt slower. I remember an experience in college golf. I'm playing a tournament and it's downpouring rain, and we're almost taking like full swings on the putting green to get the ball to go to the hole. But definitely if I have an uphill putt, I'm a little more trustworthy, maybe the word is, and more confident. So I'm tending more to go straight at it, take a more aggressive line. Whereas if I'm downhill, I really kind of, I don't want to say baby it there, but I'm more conservative with my speed. I'll try to cover more surface area and have more of an arc. So maybe it's a little bit of a slower putt. But yes, in the humidity, the ground's a little bit more wet. Thinking about your approach shot, if you're hitting an approach shot when it's humid, it's probably going to stick. It's probably not going to roll out as it normally would if it were a gorgeous, 75 and sunny day. But playing in the rain, think about sometimes when the superintendent, he comes out, he waters the green, waters the grass, that can change from hole to hole. So that's something to recognize. If you're walking up and your shoes are getting wet, that's a sign of like, okay, this one I probably should give it a little bit more. So not just, it's not one way is correct all the time. There's things that change. The wind will sometimes affect a putt. Like I said, water, moisture will affect a putt. Uphill or downhill obviously will affect a putt, and the hole location. As you get onto the green, that's my first sign of like survey the whole green. Don't just wait till you get over your putt. Watch your competitors, see how their balls react. If they, sometimes actually this past couple of days when I was playing in a tournament, me and another, competitor, we were right next to each other. And I said, okay, if I pay attention, if I watch hers, I'll kind of get a sign of what mine's going to do. So, I am a big talker. I love to talk on when I'm competing and stuff, but on the putting green, I get a little more quiet because I'm very more observant and I'm aware they have a downhill putt. Which way is it turning? If they miss it, where are they missing it? High side or low side? I sometimes take a look how far back they go. Are they going really far back? Are they, kind of going easy? And where's their line? I want to see what they see to give me more help. So when you're playing with others, don't just, stand around and look at, pay attention to what's going on. It's like they're giving you the answers.
We've got a few questions here. What's the best way to determine the speed of a long putt?
I like to go actually up halfway between. I shorten it into really two putts, first half and second half. And I go up in between and I kind of get the closer half first. Then I'll go back, I'll get the longer half. And then from there, I try to match them up and complete the full putt. I really get more of a sense there at the practice putting green. Let's say I'm the first couple holes and you need some type of reference. So I would say mainly from the practice putting green, but as the day goes on, you have experiences of all 18 holes. So you get more information as you go on.
Would you suggest putting from the toe for a fast downhill putt?
I've heard that before. Yes. If it's very fast and I could barely tap it and I have, let's say, two, undulating down, I'm more likely to do it. At all costs, I'd rather hit it in the center of the trampoline, as I like to call it. But if it's a putt that I barely need to tap or barely blow on, I will sometimes go to the toe or the heel.
Can you talk about field putting versus aiming at a spot?
Okay. So I'm a little bit of both, I will say. So the feel part of me would be tossing the golf ball, visualizing, and then the more concrete side of me would be, okay, that's my target, that's my line, I'm gonna putt there. So, you can classify yourself as one versus another. You may be a little bit of both. If you have a really great day of putting and kind of one way works, I would stick with that. But, I definitely, when I get up to a putt, I try to draw in my head a line of what the path of the ball. So I'm not necessarily pinpointing a spot, I'm just seeing the line. But again, that's different for everyone. Everyone has their own visual ideas, and some people love a spot. Caddies tend to say this spot, where I think personally, maybe more intuitively, we think of a line. So yeah, that's again, a little bit of player preference, but I would say when you have a caddy, try to read it first and then ask for help. Try to develop your own strategy. Don't just say, oh, where's the spot? Where am I going? Like, try to take a look. It's fun. It's really fun.
Do you accelerate when putting or do you keep the same speed?
Accelerate, definitely accelerate. Keeping the same speed. Well, so the coin, right? We talked about the coin. So back and through. There is actually a little bit of acceleration as I go through the golf ball. One, because we need to hit it on the upslope, and two, because, if I'm going the same speed, that's maybe more for like a tiny little putt. But if I have a long lag putt, I need to accelerate. It's just a natural thing that happens.
That's our final question.
Oh, sorry, I just have one quick one.
Yeah.
Carly, I really loved your drills with the metronome and then also the tempo drill with the quarter. I thought those were really great. One question I had was just about practice generally. So let's say you show up at the course, you have like a half an hour or limited time to run through some practice. How much of that should be focused on putting versus long game? And then, are there any like drills or practice suggestions you have that you should really always do, every time you step on the putting green?
Yeah, really great question. I always do the north, south, east, and west. I actually tell myself you need to make all four before you even get to the first tee. So that's my way of having confidence and knowing like, okay, I just made uphill, just made downhill, made side, and made side. So that's something I always do no matter what. If I have a half hour, it's easy to say you want to go 20 minutes to hit balls, 10 to putt, but it's actually the opposite. Spending 20 minutes on the putting green and 10 minutes at the, at the long tee, the long lesson range would probably be best. Putting, people say it's so boring. I can't see myself on the putting green for that long. But what you can do is make games with yourself. Say, okay, I'm going to put a tee down and I want to make 8 out of 10. And then you can go back a little bit, maybe make 5 out of 10, then go back, make 3 out of 10, make 1 out of 10. So as you go back, lessen the pressure. But I would always say, I always spend a lot of time on the putting green because to me, that's where the shots, it's an eraser. This is an eraser in your golf bag. You make a long putt that you're not expecting and you're like, whoa, you have to always hit a tee shot. You pretty much have to hit a second shot if you're on a par 4, par 5, but there's always going to be the tee shot. So, that's always going to be there and you can hole out, sometimes there's not a putt. This is like a magic eraser. So, if you can get really good at putting, your scores are going to improve dramatically. So I would just say work on speed control is really the main thing. People can read the greens. You'd be surprised. More of my lessons are on speed control than green reading. Green reading kind of is a natural thing. You get a sense of it. I haven't really had a lot of students that are really far off with the read. You can kind of see undulation, I believe, but the speed is gaining experience, gaining control, consistency, all things that really do matter.
Going back to putter size, this person says they're 5'9", but use a 34-inch putter. Is that okay, or should it be longer?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I'm 5'2" and I use 31 inches. So yeah, that's about right.
Great.
Any
All the
questions?
questions. Yeah.
Should I kind of wrap it up? Or?
Yeah, anything?
Okay. Yeah.
No other questions.
No more? All right. Well, thank you guys so much. This was a ton of fun. My name is Carly Peters. I'm over at Quaker Ridge every single day. I do go down to Florida in the winter. So, reach out. You can send my email out with any other questions or, tips and tricks. I'm happy to help and maybe I'll see everyone soon.
Thank you so much, Carly, for joining us and for all of our members for tuning in tonight. As Sarah mentioned earlier, we have recorded this session. So please, we'll send around the details and please refer back to it throughout the course of the next year and the coming years. And again, Carly, really appreciate your time and all of the great tips and advice tonight. Good luck to you for the rest of the summer and